How's it going so far?
It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon because someone went and got drunk last night and got
wonder who.
and didn't wake up.
Yep.
And chose a room that doesn't have windows, so...
Really? In
the Banu Cave.
In the superior room? The big Buddha?
But this is exactly what you need when you've got a hangover. You're doing 2007.
Yeah, no worries. Hello, monkey. Nice hugget. Oh, good show. Just as I said it. There's each of them.
I wonder if they buy.
I'd say so. We're only at step number 112.
There's no stick.
So good with the camera. That's cool. That's all we need is some rum. Little baby!
We're inside Banu Caves and it's really, really sweaty and gross. It's massive and tall. And they're doing some sort of prayer thing in here which prank for rain.
Prank for rain.
But check this out, there's monkeys everywhere. This little bastard's got someone's banana. Look at this one. Little baby. It's awesome. Up here, there's all these little monkeys, and they're throwing the coconuts down, and they go down and pick them up, and then take them back up and eat all the little bits. It's just nuts. And there's a cat here, and a cat over on that thing over there.
Be careful of them coconuts falling as the monkeys toss them down.
There you go. And there's a rooster. We'll go over here and look at this rooster. It's everything.
Where is it?
Think of a rooster.
In the dark, can't see him. Yeah, rooster. Stop, stop. Where is he? There he is.
Yeah, go and do it.
Okay, it's the same cat. Meow.
It's a puma.
The puma. Who's this? What's up? Oh, it's got no tail. Who's the puma? Where are you? I've lost him. Oh, that cat's going nuts. Can't see it.
How's this? It's so amazing. The only thing that I don't understand is how on earth they train the monkeys not to take their shoes and sleep when they go into that. Seriously, the monkeys don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, any monkey that has is not here anymore.
It's cold. Shaking this apparatus, whatever it is, just for fun. You're going, this is cool. Yeah. He's not happy. Hey! Here he goes, and we goes the monkey again. Oh no, he's coming
Okay, I think I've worked out that in Malaysia you don't speak too quickly because suddenly we have a view. And this is where we're going. We're going down into the tea plantations down there, butterflies, vegetable farms, and yeah, as you can see, before we even got a chance to have a look, it's the fog's coming in and totally taking away our magnificent view. But anyway, we're going to get down in amongst it. So this is like the best moment of my entire life. I'm in a sea of tea. Now, most people come to Malaysia because it's got amazing beaches. Others come because it's got really cool towers like the Petronas Towers and the big centre point thing that they copied off Sydney. And a lot of other people like Craig come for the fake watches, and other people, yeah, still come from fake handbags. But I come for the tea. And sadly though, in order for me to get into the sea of tea, because we've just come out of the rainforest, I have to, yeah, not only follow the goat track that got us here, but try and navigate this bridge that is actually built for like tiny little Indians. Anyway, I love you, Mum.
Oh, yes.
And the best thing about this is the Craig's lets it come across after I've broken it.
Oh, you fat lad. You fat lad.
So we made it through the goat track, which was down that mountain. It was kind of crazy without the crazy view because it was kind of misty. But anyway, it's totally worth it because we are right in the middle of the sea of this. It's truly incredible. I mean, seriously, catch this here. It's nuts. I mean, think of all these cups of tea, all the mornings, all the laughs, all the tears, all the seriously, sweetheart, I think we need a divorce conversations that are going to take place over these cups of tea. This bus is not going to be done justice in here if you just take a photograph of it, because I think seriously, what is this music? What is this music? It's hilarious. We've made it to Cameron Highlands and it is absolutely fantastic here. The weather is perfect and I mean everything is just sparkling under the sun, but apparently when it gets to lunchtime everything changes and it's rain and cold and rain supposedly. But we've already come from Tanaratana up to Bringchang. We've been to the temple, which is kind of modern Chinesey, kind of not that cool. And we are now heading up this path here all the way to that mountain up there, which is the highest peak in Peninsular Malaysia at 2,400 meters apparently.
You better sign changed last night and changed all the signs.
Being on a bloody set tour, I reckon. Awesome. You wouldn't know it by the amount of sweat coming off me, but it's actually really chilly in the rainforest. And thank God someone was here before us and put a sign, because we're almost halfway to the mountain. And thank goodness they put this rope across here, because I think I'd be a little bit upset if we ended up taking the wrong track and it not being halfway. You got in an innate sense being in here, and there's like a helicopter going over at the moment, that when you're looking at this scenery and you're in this part of the world, it's something kind of eerily, you know, Ho Chi Minh Trail-like. It's kind of cool and kind of adds the whole little adventure, because after the first few kilometres of pretty much so 45 to 60 degree radiant, kind of get a little bit into just the moment, into just the movement of walking on step up to step up to step, but the added stuff like that just brings you back into noticing what's around you. This is truly incredible. Something that's kind of really unusual about this forest, which I've never really noticed in another rainforest anywhere, is that there's these little poltergeists, like this one here. You can see that these leaves are kind of waving to you. And it's not just this one here, like all throughout there's little tiny pockets of leaves doing the same thing, just having a little wave, saying, come on guys, you can make it to the top. And it kind of does, it spurs you on. Can you, seriously, your entire life, ever imagine a more pretty seat than this? And look at this. I've even got little flowers to keep me company. How pretty. Oh, there's more. And there's even like a pick-me-up when you're too fat and lazy like me to get up yourself. Well, I really wish you could be here, because the smell is as bad as opposite as you could possibly get to Kuala Lumpur and any other town we've been through, which is just putrid. This smell here is It's pretty hard to describe, but the closest thing to it, and I feel really weird saying this, but it's actually those little rainforest fresh things that you get and squirt around your house. Like, it's really a really pretty fresh. Okay, I'm not going to bother trying to describe it. It's just like those little bottles of rainforest fresh freshener. But we're past halfway, which is very exciting. It's only 1 kilometre, but as you can see, it's kind of a peak now, so it's all the way up, straight up.
What's that, 20 inches? Over 20 inches. 526 millimetres?
There we go. I think I found why everything smells so pretty. Because normally you would imagine that a rainforest would smell kind of like wet socks or wet dog, which is usually the case, especially in the subtropic rainforests of like Tasmania and that. Except where there's obviously a bit of an alpine conifer freshness. But this is it. There must be orchids or some flower right up on the top of the canopy, and it smells absolutely beautiful. There's heaps of them falling down here. There we go. Now we've found the explanation as to why it smells so good in this forest. Okay, I'm getting sweatier and sweatier and sweatier. But thankfully, the forest is really starting to open up. We're starting to get some views and there's some breeze coming in, which is just so refreshing. Even though it's cold, it is really, really stifling in here. And when you start to get openings like this, it really cools you down. One thing that we really noticed about the mountains of Malaysia, and especially the Cameron Highlands, is the soil is so poor. It's really just some kind of orange chalk. But you can see why they do farm up here. It's this thick humus. That is just pure organic matter. And of course the farmers can come in, farm, cut down the rainforest, farm on this humus and get amazing crops. But the downside of it is that it usually lasts only 2 or 3 years, and then they've got to start using chemical fertilisers, which is usually beyond the means of the locals around here, especially in Indonesia, and that's why we've got so much deforestation going on, which really sucks, because rainforests like this you really want to stay around, so that just like 100 years ago the British who were living in Kuala Lumpur used to come up here and enjoy it. In 100 years you'd love the people in Kuala Lumpur to be able to come up here and enjoy it. In fact, anyone in the entire world to come and enjoy and be able to smell the amazing smell that's up here, because it is truly incredible. Kind of looks pretty dodgy, but thankfully little Mr. Malay tour guides done all these bright orange dots, so you know that you're not going into some like gorilla lair or, you know, place with vipers, which actually I shouldn't say that because there probably is vipers everywhere around here. And it freaks me out a little. Okay, so it's not raining yet, but I'm sure if we accidentally got stuck here by rain, a really cool and handy tree like this would be great to sit under. And also, strangely enough, there's one of these poltergeisty breezes coming straight through over here from the right, which is just magnificent, and it's just taking my sweat away like nothing else, and making me keen to keep going up. The operative word being up. We made it. Doesn't matter who you talk to, but this mountain is between 2,000 and 2,450 metres, and everyone we've spoken to has said some number in between there. So it's pretty cool. But of course we get to the top and we've just come, you know, up that incredible track, which, you know, climbing in and over roots and through mangroves, etc. And then these bloody Japanese butterfly catchers came up by taxi, because there's a road just here. So Anyway, but it's worth coming here because, like every alpine peak, you have an amazing view. I mean, look, you don't get any better than that, do you? Seriously, it was totally worth the climb.
We can't see anything. The fogs come in, otherwise it would be amazing.
Anyway, cut it there.
After the delights of the city markets and the grand Batu caves, the boys now venture overland to the historic port city of Malacca. We join the boys as they check out the view from their accommodation.
This is our view. Once again, we went to the backpack accommodation. David likes backpack accommodation. Really good view. It's a long way to the bottom. We're on the 20th. Oh, that's freaky.
Somewhere that's Indonesia. Somewhere over there. One straight to the
Exercise classes in the middle of the mall. This is a lazy option, but it's working. David, don't look away.
This is awesome. There's our friend.
He's our friend. He's our slave for the day.
I'm giving him a workout.
Yeah. Maybe you should jump on, Dave.
No. What's going on here?
What are we doing, Yui? Oh no.
It's the bypass.
Malacca. The first time. About half an hour ago we finished one of the most amazing meals we've ever had, and we've only walked probably a kilometre, and here's Dave eating McDonald's with fries, a Shrek special. And he's wondering why he's carrying a spare tyre around his mid-waist at the moment. He could be pregnant, but he's not quite sure. Anyway, interesting to know what happened.
This is straight to Malacca. The whole reason that anyone lives anywhere in the world is because of these roads. And then my friends over there, that's their little huts.
They're like the ones where Russell Crowe lives at Woolloomooloo.
Yeah. It's W.
Yeah.
These are the beautiful beaches. This is the reason we came to Malacca. These are the beaches. This is the Baywatch Tower, just over here. I think David Hasselhoff, or the equivalent, the Malaysian equivalent of those Hasselhoff. They finally made it to straight to Malacca, and this behind me is the oldest European building in all of Asia. It was built in the 1500s, 1511. It says on the thing that like 1670, but I think that's because
it's wrong. Must be wrong.
There's heaps of different European powers that took over. You've got first of all the Portuguese, which built it. It's called the Formosa. After the Portuguese, it was the Dutch, and after the Dutch, it was the British. And each successive conquering mob smash it down and then rebuild and smash it down. Just behind it is the Church of St. Paul's, and that was used by all the different mobs as their religious heart, and also by the British as a gunpowder store, because of course they didn't like Catholics and it was Catholic consecrated church, so they didn't really want to use it for anything else. just right where we're standing is exactly where they claimed independence. They proclaimed independence in 1957. So this year is actually 50 years of nationhood, which is pretty special. There's heaps of celebrations going on all this month, right, leading up to August 31, which is when there was actually the news of the nation flag. Straight over behind that flag is where the bastion of Santiago or St James is, and that's where the Portuguese had their first fort, and that was their stronghold of power in the Malacca Straits. So now it's off to Cameron Highlands, that's where the tea comes from, and I can't wait to have my first cup of real tea. I want to pick the leaves, put them in some hot water, and say that I've had the freshest possible tea imaginable. It's like a 4-hour bus ride, so I'm not looking forward to that, unless we get the flash ones with really cool curtains, and then it's going to be good. But, I don't know, we'll see what happens. It'll be fun. But before we leave Malacca, we're going to go and have a look at the Dutch Quarter, and there's a few churches there, and I don't know, lots of trishawls. That's one thing about Malacca, is that there's trishawls everywhere. They're very, very pretty. They got really cool guys that have really cool music on them. Okay, I couldn't not let you see this. This is the Museum of Enduring Beauty. Now, we're not so bold as to go in and find out what it's all about, but my hair's looking really, really good today, so I'm thinking it's quite appropriate that we should go in there. We're kind of rushed for time. And then right next to it is the Museum of Umno Malacca, and it's kind of like the equivalent of the Labour Party. So you've actually got a museum here for a political party. The main party in power there, Dr. Mahathir's party, and one of the biggest disappointments of coming to Malacca is the simple fact that there is just so much development on top of all the history, and even the historical stuff is really painted to look like it was kind of belongs on the Gold Coast. You know, it doesn't look really authentic. But one thing that was really cool to see is just when we were walking between the two parts of the Portuguese area and the Dutch area, is this dig site here. Now they're obviously been kind of, we're in the grounds of a police station. Now obviously trying to extend the building, and they've thankfully come across some archaeological site, and as you can see out there, they're doing a dig to fully check it out, which is cool. And you kind of appreciate that now with Malaysia obviously coming of age and realising that there's a real historical significance to these ruins. Good on Malaysia. So this is the whole reason that people come to this part of Malacca, and that is the Dutch Quarter. Behind it is the Dutch Reformed Church. Now it's an Anglican church. They changed it over in the 1800s when the British retook control, and because they swapped. It's what the British used to do. They swapped New York and all those sorts of things, and the British ended up with this, which is why everyone speaks English here instead of Dutch, and the Indonesians speak Dutch instead of English, which is pretty cool. One thing that you can't get over in Malaysia is the gardens. They put so much work into their gardens. It's absolutely beautiful, and they throw rubbish in them, but still they really look after them. But you know what? You can always tell you're in a Dutch Quarter when you see little windmills. You know you're in Asia when you see that little Asians.
The wholesale area of Malacca. Narrow streets.